Well, folks, it's here. Rutcation. Got the old Ford wound up and pointed west. We've been on the road about 7.5 hours so far, with about 7.5 more to go. We are somewhere in southern Indiana, but we are on our way to Iowa. It's November 2nd, so probably we'll hit a tree November 4th. We'll get out here tonight. It'll be after dark when we get in. We'll get up in the morning, start scouting. I've hunted this area before. Got a couple of places that we'll head to right off the bat. Had some really good luck. So, as promised, it's Iowa time. So we're going to get on down the road, and we will see y'all when we get up a tree. Scouted this during the pouring rain and found some sign. But I was on the way in, and there is a big buck with two toes right out here about 60 yards. Wind's right in my face. I'm trying to figure out if I'm going to be able to make a stalk on him or just back out. Because there's no way I can get on into where I was going to sit without bumping him. But he's big right out here. I got to figure out what I'm going to do. I am finally up a tree. It has been it's been an amazing trip. Solid 3.5-year-old buck right up here. I mean, from where we're sitting, he was probably 150, 200 yards up here at the CRP. Just could not move. I closed down on him maybe 5 yards, and then it just kind of moved on off. Actually, he was standing there and put his head down, almost looked like he was going to lay down. And I looked down, and then when I looked back up, he was gone. And he was right on the crest, so I think he might have just moved over. But there's several good scrapes right here. I'm right where basically 3 creeks come together, but I do not have good shot opportunities in here. But it's going to give us somewhere to be in the morning. Maybe let this rain move out, get the system out, and then get out and really start scouting. But this is one of my favorite places out here. But where I normally hunt is about 400 yards back down the creek behind me. But they're forecasting south winds, so I've had to come in, and I'm up on the north end of the creek. I don't know how much more daylight we've got. I've got time change. confused and out of sorts. But we're going to sit here until dark, whether it's another 30 minutes or an hour and 30 minutes. I got no idea. Get the rest of my stuff together. It is muggy. It's almost hot. So, already been awesome. Big buck, 50 yards. I hadn't even made it to a tree yet. I love this state. It's the first morning, and unfortunately, Mother Nature is not cooperating. It is about 60 degrees with a real light mist, kind of half raining. But I come back down here where we hung last night. That buck is in here. He's with the doe. My only hope is that that doe just brings him through here. But until this weather system gets out here, we're basically just got our back against the wall. Supposed to get thunderstorms in this evening, maybe some more rain in the morning, and then moving out here, and then becoming November weather. So we're going to settle on in here. May wind up having to put up the umbrella in a little bit. We'll see if something moves through here in a little bit. It's about 11 o'clock. And I've come over here to make a quick little scouting around in an area I had hunted in before. Kind of waiting on things to dry up a little bit. And it looks like they've done some kind of work on this access path. It is muddy, but there's several fresh tracks right here. Look like maybe does. But I'm gonna circle around up on top of this hill, and it goes out, and it's a bluff. But where I'm headed is that bluff kind of tails out and turns into a ridge. It runs down in the creek. So I'm gonna go down there. There's some big tracks right here. So just out doing some midday scouting. Actually saw a small buck down here on the road just a minute ago. So let's go see what we can find up here on top of this hill. Well, we've got rubs in here. And then that trail running right back up across the ridge right there. There's a scrape back up there about 50 yards. In here, a little white oak patch. Problem is, I can't remember what tree I climbed in here years ago. But we've got sign. Well, that looks good since it rained all night. And that rub I was showing you is about 10 yards right there behind us. Falling temperatures, rising pressure, and a west wind on November the 5th in Iowa. Let's go get them. This evening's already off to a rousing start. I ain't been up a tree but about 10 minutes. And I first got up here and got sat down. Just right here in this thicket behind me, I started hearing a funny racket. I don't know what it was. It sounded like a cross between a deer blowing and a deer coughing and a squirrel barking. It's almost like it kind of spitting or something. It's a sound I've never heard in the deer woods before. But I didn't even have my hat on. I was sitting there trying to cool down, didn't have my release on. And I turned around and looked, and that real tight-racked 8-point that we seen yesterday morning was standing right here at like 10 yards. I don't know if he smelled me. I don't think he did, but he was already on the high alert. It's kind of weird. But then right out the corner of my eye, there was another deer right behind the tree. And it kind of whirled and went back up. And then he just bounded back down the creek. So, I ain't been up a tree 10 minutes and I've done seen, I don't know what, he might not be a shooter. He's a pretty dang good buck. But I don't know if he was bedded right back there. There's that sound again. It's weird. I don't know what is going on, but it is already off to a rousing start. This is a deer hunting morning. something will happen because there's a lot of activity already. Just the world has woke up happy this morning. The world has woke up happy this morning. Just rattled him in. Well, that's going to wrap up morning number 3 here in Iowa. Got her stand on her back. We're going to make a move this evening. I kind of hate to leave that little creek down there. It's one of my favorite places out here. I had a lot of good luck down there. But we've got a good buck down there. So we're going to give him a couple of days rest. Just that way we don't bugger him out of there. I think with a little bit of time, we might get a crack at him. Welcome back to Iowa Part 2. I'm in a new spot, and I have taken a page straight from Dan Infalt's playbook. We are island hopping. I'm still on the mainland, but I am on a point, an oak point, right here that juts out into a marsh. I've got another oak island over here in front of me, about 150 yards. And there's another one on out here, about another 300 yards. That's farther, that's about 4, I guess. So there's several trails coming across right here. And then right here in front of me, there is an awesome trail that crosses from this over to that island. This just kind of runs back up, and then it goes into CRP. Back over here, DNR has got a turnip field planted. There's a couple of scrapes back out here, about 60, 70 yards. And there's just rubs just scattered all through right here. So I'm on this point right now, and I may stay here for a couple of days, depending on what we see. But if it looks like the activity is, I can pull and I can go to this next island. And if need to, I can pull and go to that other island. The only problem is that the far island from where I am is getting closer to another road. actually pulled a scent drag in with me this time. I brought in using the Maniac Outdoors, the Rut Fuel scent drag. And then just kind of based on what I'm seeing, I've also made a mock scrape out here with the gland fuel and the scrape fuel. So we'll see what that does. Got a perfect wind. You can probably kind of sort of see the marsh out through here. And it goes around, and I mean it circles. I'm kind of right on the end of a peninsula. There's a lot of cattails on the far side. The other thing too is it's open, I can see. Maybe if a deer just stands up out there, I'll be able to see it. But I've got perfect wind coming right out of the marsh and going right back onto the land back here. So I'm going to go ahead and get settled on in, and we'll get this next phase started. Hopefully we'll get some activity in here tonight. Probably give that buck about an hour. We are on the ground. But honestly, now that I'm down here, I don't know that we needed to give him an hour. This looks pretty good. Pretty much blood right here immediately at the hit site. Bright pink, got bubbles in it. So we're gonna go take a look at him. I'm gonna show you what we done right here right quick. I'm gonna turn the camera around. I'm standing where I shot him. And I was up there. So he is literally there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps from the bottom of my tree. He was standing right there. So we got some hair and a couple of specks of blood just right here. But then just look right here. I think we've got us a dead deer right here. It's got bubbles in it. Plenty of blood going on out through here. Even more hair tufted up. I just hate he went into that marsh. It's gonna be a pain tracking through that. But let's go see if we can find him. Well, bad news. It's been about an hour and a half since I shot that deer. And he's gone probably 200 yards from where I hit him. He's bleeding good, bleeding really good. But I just bumped him. I got him up right over here. I don't know. When he got up, I wasn't but about 50 yards from him. He's out in this marsh. I would have figured he'd have been dead. So I'm going to just back out and I'm going to give him, it's about 9 o'clock now. I'm going to give him to about 12, 1 o'clock, and then we'll come back in here. I think we can find him. I've got a good mark on where he actually went when he got up. So we'll just back out on him and give him a little bit of time. Judging from the blood and everything, it's probably one lung and liver, the angle he was standing. I've got the arrow back. It went all the way through. So we're just going to have to give him some time. I just hate that I got him up. I would have thought he would, the way he was bleeding, that he would have been down. But these things are big and they are strong. So I'm just going to give him some more time. Oh my goodness. What an adventure. It is 10 minutes after 2. And at 7:30 this morning, this started. And it's taken a little bit of time and a little bit of effort. But we got him. We got him. Solid, solid, solid. He might actually score as a 9. But, man, it's taken some time. But I am tickled to death we found him. He's out here in the middle of this dang cattail marsh. But we got him. Let me turn the camera, I'll get my fingers out of the way. Let me turn the camera around and give y'all a better view of him. All right, right there he is. And that body is a tank. Come almost back together. Another almost 10-pointer. I cannot believe he went as far as he did. That's the entrance right there. And that is 3 ribs up. It would have been better had I not jumped him this morning. He's not bedded. He has literally walked until he fell over. All right, I gotta get the guts out of him, get him started cooling. I'm really kind of worried about the meat. It's like, I mean, it's like I said, 7:30, 1:36. He's probably been dead 5 hours. So, found him. My goodness, what a roller coaster of a day. I hit this buck this morning
at about 7:30. Gave him an hour. Bumped him out of the bed. I mean, he was bleeding. There was no tracking. It was just walk and follow. So by the time I got on him and got around over there, give him about an hour, and then 20 minutes in, jumped him out of the bed. So backed out, gave him about 4 more hours, came back in here, and it took a little bit of time to actually get figured out which direction he had went, but I was just about to give up and call a dog, and I found blood where he had crossed the river. So boots and socks off, rolled pants up, crossed the river, found blood immediately on the other side, got on him again, and it was pretty much again just walk and follow. And he got to trail walking. Just he would stay on the trails, and it'd just be a drop, 3 or 4 steps, drop, and all the way out into that cattail marsh. And he walked until he fell. He was laying right in the middle of the trail, and you could tell he was just moving forward. He hadn't bedded down or anything. But tickled to death. Iowa has paid off for me again. Solid 3.5. This buck might actually be 4.5 years old. They're a pretty gray face. Tickled to death. Took a page from Dan Infault. Not necessarily the islands per se, because this one was still attached to the CRP. But my plan was to move. There was an island further out, and if that didn't pan out, then I was going to another one further out. But this morning, there was a doe in there, and this guy came in with 2 young bucks. I love how those beams, he was having a heck of a time rubbing on trees. Great G2s on this buck. I'm not really sure what he's liable to score, but definitely a mature deer, and I will take him. Tickled to death. Now I've got to get him out of here, get him to the processor, and see if we can take a break today. It has been a day of it. Well, folks, that's going to wrap us up in Iowa. The events of yesterday, and done got that buck to the processor, and they're telling me he'll be ready to go tomorrow. So rather than try to leave a stand in the woods and just kill some time chasing a doe, they've got rain in the forecast, so we've just came in, pulled everything out, wrap this up, and head on back to North Carolina. This has been an amazing and a short trip. The buck activity was hot right off the bat. We almost had some success on the very first morning. We put that buck down yesterday on morning number 4. So it has been quite the trip. So we definitely appreciate y'all coming along. We appreciate all our new subscribers, our new viewers. So I apologize for this camera that I've got that is objecting to moisture. I've missed 2 kill shots this year because of moisture on that camera. So we're going to try to get that problem rectified. But stick with us. We've still got North Carolina's gun season coming. A couple more hunts in Georgia. At least one more weekend with the kids in Georgia. And Miss Jillian behind the gun again. We now have to get her, as she says, her buck. So we're going to be working on that. So we hope you've enjoyed this. If you have, smash that like button down below. Subscribe if you haven't already. Tell your friends. Leave us any questions or comments down below. We appreciate y'all coming along, and we will catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching.